Hello everyone. Moose 2006 here with my decaffeinated hazelnut coffee. Got a new camera, not sure if you can tell based on the previous video, but it should be a little clearer. If I turn my head this way, I'm just checking my other monitor to see what's happening because I'm not quite used to being on camera. Here we go. Questions and answers. I actually was very surprised with the response I got. I figured I'd get maybe one or two comments. Turned out there were lots of questions. I loved it. So, not surprisingly, a lot of them were about farming or farming sim, which is just fine. That is the majority of my channel, so I'm happy to answer those questions. So I have a list here, and we're just going to spend the next while together answering your guys' questions. So let's get started. First question, great one. Nathan Carter asks, how did you get into gaming? Well, plain and simple, started when I was really, really little, as probably most of us did. I grew up in the early 90s, so our first console would have been a Super Nintendo. We were just a year or two behind the original. And my brothers and I would always fight over it every Sunday, who got to play on the, when we got back from church and all that nonsense. But basically, yeah, had a Super, we got Zelda. I just loved it from day one. Finally got Earthbound a couple years later, and just kept doing it. Obviously, my older brother sort of stopped eventually. We got to the point where they wouldn't even let me play games with them because I would always beat them at them, specifically GoldenEye for the 64. Whenever their friends would come over, they wouldn't let me play because I would always win, even though I was smaller than them. But in everything else, they would always beat me when it came to physical activity like basketball, wrestling, beating me up, things like that, which is fine. Older brothers, love them to death. So that's it. I was small, started playing video games, didn't stop. Chris Winter asks, where did the name Moose 2006 LP come from? Well, this harkens back to, 2001-ish. So this is a good time to get your own coffee, maybe some popcorn, maybe put this on mute and go watch something else for a little bit while I regale you. So it's actually very simple. We were coming back from the lockers. It was 7th grade. I do remember that. 7th grade, and we were between passing periods, and all our lockers were crowded together, plus we had to share. So there's twice as many people, and there should have been. And for some reason, I was in a hurry. I was never in a hurry. I don't know if you've been able to tell, but I'm actually very not in a hurry usually. But I must have been running late or something. And so I just sort of barged through my classmates. Also didn't help that I was not a thin child, always on the chubbier, heavier set side. So I barged through my classmates, and one of my friends said, "Geez, you big moose." He said it lovingly. It was fine. I roomed with him in college my freshman year. Not in 7th grade. A few years later, ended up being good friends with him. So sang at his wedding, all that. But he just said it. It was funny, and it just sort of stuck. That very same night, I went home, used Moose 2006 to sign up for an email address, and the 2006 is my graduating year. So that's pretty easy. Then you can figure out my age and all that from that. But yeah, so that's where Moose 2006 came from. And then it just stuck. Anytime I played a video game, anytime I needed an online alias, as it were, it was Moose 2006. So I just sort of kept it going. And then LP, because when I signed up for my YouTube channel in 2012, some other person already took Moose 2006. He's probably still on YouTube. I don't know. Last time I checked, he didn't really have any videos, but it was already taken, and so I just put an LP at the end because I didn't really have any other names I wanted, and that is the origin of that. Gentle Crabfish asks, where do babies come from? Gentle Crabfish, where do babies come from? Langen Smallman. Gosh, that has to be the best name I've ever had on a comment section. Langen Smallgen. Maybe it's Lanigan. Wouldn't that make way more sense? It's probably Lanigan Smallman. What was the first game you played and posted it on YouTube? So I had to actually check because I knew it was either Mabinogi or Farming Sim 13. Turns out it was Mabinogi. So basically, and I'll talk about this. Basically, there's a bunch of compound questions coming up dealing with how I got into YouTube, how I got into Farming Sim, and all this kind of relates. So for the next while, as I answer these questions, all this is going to sort of intertwine. Basically, I just wanted a game to put on YouTube, but I didn't want it to be a game I already have played. For some reason, I thought it would be way more interesting to play something that I had never played before. That has to be the way to do it, right? If I want the best commentary, it has to be completely new. I don't want any background with it. I want all commentary to be spontaneous. Yeah, not something I would recommend first time recording. So I went on Steam, didn't have a lot of money, saw this free game Mabinogi, still don't know how to pronounce it. It was a free to play, downloaded it. I think it was like 4 or 5 episodes I played, and I had no idea what I was doing. I have not been able to bring myself to go back to watch it because I can't imagine how awful that video has to be. But that got me some views. Not very many, but it got me started. I just wanted to see, and I'll talk about all this in a little bit. But I just kind of wanted to see if I could. I just wanted to see the process of getting a video on YouTube. And then I think 4 or 5 episodes after that, I started Farming Sim 13 tutorials, and that of course is where subscribers started to, people started to hit the subscribe button instead of immediately Alt F4ing so hard their computers broke. So, okay, so here's where, this is when it gets complicated with Q&As, is when people do compound questions and then they all interlap. So I'm going to read 4 questions in a row. I'm going to read 4 questions in a row right now, if you would pay attention. Anyway, Periculo8910, decaf is, not decaf, hazelnut. Oh my goodness, it is so good. It's cold out today. It's like the first cold November day we've had, and it's just a perfect day to get some coffee and just talk for a while about me. It's probably my favorite thing to do. Not really. Kind of. Periculo8910. I really like your FS17 tutorials. They've helped me out a lot. Perfect. That's why I make them. I wonder, how did you get into Farming Sim, and if you play any other games? Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Todd Sommer asks, how did you get into Farming Sim? And what do you like the most about the games? ThugLife337 really. His name actually has the word really in it. I'm not asking really, that's your name. ThugLife337 really asks, what made you do YouTube? Great question. And why did you start the Farming Sim games? So a lot of Farming Sim. Why did I start Farming Sim? Sniper Kids exclamation. How did you get into YouTube? And how did you start to grow your channel? Whew. That's a doozy. P.S. Your videos are awesome. Well, thank you for the kind words. All right, so let's first talk about why I got into YouTube. It's very simple. I really like to learn how to do things, and not at like a proficient level, but when something catches my attention, I like to just dabble and get a sense of how it's done, and then I usually move on. Over here on my left that you can't see, I have guitar and banjo that I can dabble on, and I can pick a little because I just wanted to see how to play them. I very much enjoy them, but I wouldn't call myself like a banjo player. Over here on my right that you can't see, I'm just making sure that I'm pointing in the right direction. Right, I have a scribe desk on which I dabble in calligraphy. That I still do, and I'm still trying to learn because I really, really enjoy it. Just little things like that. Like I really like trying to just learn new things, and then just to kind of sate that part of things. And so I was watching YouTube at this time, watching a lot of Let's Plays, really getting into it, really enjoying some channels, and I decided, Sorry, computer just fell asleep on me. I just wanted to make sure it's still recording. And so I decided that I would like to see if I could figure out like how it's done. Like how do you get a game to be recorded and then on YouTube? Which now it's like seems really simple, but at the time I had no idea what I was doing. I had never uploaded a video to YouTube. I never recorded, captured a video, anything like that. And so the first few, like the Mabinogi series was just me trying to figure out if like how to do it, what software, what settings, what works well together. I didn't even use Audacity back then. I tried to do the Fraps voice capture for a long time, which really was a bad idea. You definitely just want the video and audio separate, and then put them together. It would be my biggest advice on that. And that's how I got into it. It wasn't to get subscribers, it wasn't to make money, it wasn't to do anything like that. It was just, can I figure out this process? Now, how did I get into the Farming Sim series? I started playing Farming Simulator because I really like simulation games, tycoon games, management games, things like that. I grew up in the country, all my family are farmers, huge respect. So I saw this game, 2013 had just come out, and it just looked really fun. Bought it, started playing it, got hooked. I don't know if you okay, so that's why I got into Farming Sim. Why did I choose to make tutorials? Why did I choose to put it on my channel? If you played FS13, you might remember that they gave you very, very, very few bits of information about what you were doing. If you look at the game now, you have, like in the menu, it tells you this, the puzzle piece, this goes with this. It gives you a really fairly decent description of what it does and how it works. It gives you tooltips when you're loading up the game. You have a nice map with symbols, and it does a really nice job now of telling you what's going on for the most part. In 2013, in Farming Sim 13, they gave you very little to work with. I felt when I was playing it, I was so lost. You couldn't lease equipment, so if you wanted to buy equipment, you had to save up, and so it was really risky to try to endeavor in a different industry, because if all of a sudden you wanted to start doing hay and you weren't quite sure how, it was really expensive to start that. Things like that. And so I couldn't really find great videos on YouTube for it. I'm sure there were some, I just couldn't locate them. And they weren't, and when I did, they weren't as modular as I like I like to find information in very modular, compact, bite-sized pieces. I want a video about just this one thing. I couldn't find that, and so I was like, well, I'm kind of starting to try to learn YouTube. Let's see if I can just make a couple of videos on how to do this, since I've already put in the time in Farming Sim, and I have kind of figured it out. And so the Farming Sim 13 tutorials just came about because I had no idea what I was doing. I had figured it out myself finally, and I thought, well, maybe other people will kind of be in the same boat, and so maybe they'll just be looking for how do you deal with chickens and sheep. And so I put out a video, chickens, things like that. And really shockingly, they just sort of took off. People started watching, and the views started going up, and subscribers started going up, and it was insane. And then when 15 came out, same thing. And so that's how the tutorial started. And then there's this question, how did you start to grow your channel? I would say it was a combination of kind of finding my niche, I guess, like finding the fact that there weren't Farming Sim tutorials, or at least ones that I found that I liked, and kind of filling that need. And then two, and probably most importantly, unfortunately, a lot of luck. Just luck that I hit the tutorials at the right time, and I guess people also needed them at that time, and it just sort of clicked. And it's never fun to hear luck was part of it, but I think luck's part of every success story, and a lot of work. a lot of time to research and prepare and edit and create and make sure that they're of the quality that I'm hoping people find them, or at least the last couple of tutorials. The 13 tutorials are bad. I had no subscribers. I was just doing them. I think there are some that have no sound in the last like half of the video. I didn't know what I was doing. So again, with how to start to grow your channel, really all you gotta do is just, I mean, the biggest advice is just create. People can't watch a channel with no content, right? So just start making videos. Try to make it good. Try to find something people want. But I'm not the guy to ask. I mean, I am blessed to have 12,000 subscribers. But again, if you want advice on this, go ask PewDiePie or Markiplier, Sips, Yogscast, someone like that. But that's how I started to grow it. That's my personal story. And then I didn't even really hit it hard until last June. I would say about a year and a half ago. I think a year and a half ago I had less than 2,000 subscribers, and people kept asking for a Let's Play. And I had done a couple Let's Plays here and there for Farming Sim and a couple other things, and I just never felt comfortable. I always felt my commentary was kind of forced. I just never, I just didn't feel good at it. I didn't feel like I was very good at Let's Plays, and I felt confident about my Farming Sim 15 tutorials. But people kept asking, like, can you do some Let's Plays? We love your tutorials, and which was really great. I mean, and I finally was like, if they're asking, I mean, I might as well try. And I just started making, I think last June, I just finally started, I just was like, I need to just try it. Like, sit down, try to get a video out every day, every 2 days at least. And from then on, I've tried to stick to that. There are weeks, there's days where I don't get stuff out because of work and stuff, but it happens. But for the most part, since last June, I've really tried to be active consistently, and that's when I've gone from less than 2,000 to where I am now at 12. So yeah, it's just been a lot of luck and a lot of work, right? I mean, that's with everything that you're successful at. So I mean, anyway, we can debate that, couldn't we? Is being a YouTuber your real job? No. I do have a full salaried position, 40 plus, sometimes plus hours a week, which is my career for which I have degrees and stuff. So, nope, this is just side job, side hobby, something fun to do. Yeah. So, I do mention that a few times just because sometimes there are dry spells in my channel, and a lot of that usually is involved with having that. So, do you live in the city, suburb, or country? Well, I grew up on an acreage, so I grew up in a town of less than 100 people, so I grew up in a really, really rural area, but now I live in the city, I guess, small city, and then work in country still. Okay, this was an interesting one. If you had $10 million, would you get a farm? And what will you do with it? No. No, I wouldn't. There's another one here. Where is that? Did you ever work on a farm? Okay, I'll get there. So Gavin Palace asks, if you had 10 million, would you get a farm? What would you do with it? No, I would not get a farm. I've said many times, no way could I hack it as a farmer. I would be a terrible farmer. When it comes to physical labor, I'm awful. It's not that I can't do it, it's that I'm really bad at it. You don't want me out there messing with machines and equipment and anhydrous ammonia and all that other stuff. I respect farmers. I think what they do is amazing, and the work they put in is crazy and awesome. Nope, not for me. I love Farming Sim. Doesn't mean I could or would want to be a farmer. So if I had $10 million, I'd probably do a lot of boring things. The same old same. Invest. Because, by the time I'm older, by the time I'm retired, 10 million is not going to feel like that much, right? So anyway, what kind of farming? Oh, Stephanie Salopri. What kind of farming sim? Did I say the people who asked those other questions? I feel like I'm forgetting. Colin Walsh asked if being a YouTuber is your real job. Stop going to sleep. And Ilron Wizard asked, do you live in the city, suburb, or country? So just wanted to cover my bases there. Stephanie Salorpri. What kind of farming simulator do you play on? PC or console? PC. That doesn't mean I'm like PC master race down with the consoles, PC only, we're the best. It just means that I don't have a console because I really like PC. I am blessed that I can afford to build a PC and upgrade it every so often, and so that's what I do. If console is easier for you and you play on that, so be it. I've already had like 2 console PC wars in my comments the last few weeks, and it's like, guys, it's fine. Let people play on what they play on. It doesn't affect you at all. So I play on PC because I like PC. James McKinney asks, how long does it take to make the tutorials? That's a great question. Unlike all these other ones, right? No, they're all great. James McKinney asks, how long does it take? I should get a straw. To make the tutorials. This kind of difficult to answer, but I would say on average, we'd probably agree the average tutorial is around 8 minutes, and I would expect each tutorial took around, let's see, around 2 to 3 hours to make. That involves lots of just playing the game and then specifically researching for that tutorial. I have like 2 or 3 pages of notes I keep right here by my computer, right here where you can't see. Notes. Just wanted to prove myself. Where I write down, gosh, what do I even have here? A lot of numbers. You know, when I blanket the silo, it was this time. When it was when it was fermented, it was this time, and then I do it again. And so I'd say probably 1 to 2 hours with research, and then preparing the video. Before I record, I like to get everything set up. You can probably notice in my tutorials that things are arranged in a way that I can hopefully fluidly go from one to the next. That doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes I forget to put a tractor here, or I accidentally hit tab, and you know, it happens in live recording. But yeah, and so sometimes the setup itself can take 30 to 60 minutes by the time you lease them, by the time you drive them to where you want to be. If I want to, you know, fill up a certain implement a little bit just to be ready for it, then I have to go fill it up and take it. Driving around takes a while. So I think, yeah, I would say that's a pretty fair answer. But a lot of time goes into just learning how to do it and then researching it. Because this game was a lot different than 15. I think the transition from 13 to 15 was a little easier, even though I had to save up money to buy the equipment, whereas this one I could just lease it. I felt like this one I had to spend a lot more time just kind of relearning because everything felt just a little different than it was before. And I still make a lot of mistakes, even with research. I know in the silage video in this one I mentioned that you had to fill it up 10% because that's what you used to have to do. And I was dumb, didn't even test it because that's the way it's been for the last 2 games. Turns out in this one, whatever you have in there, you can ferment, which is awesome, but, you know, mistakes happen. I miss things. I forgot to mention in my solid manure video that, what was it? Oh, that you can use them for greenhouses, even though I knew that and had planned on making a greenhouse video. But no matter how many times I record and edit and redo, there's always going to be stuff missing. So at a certain point, you just have to kind of accept what has been made and move on. And then another really big part is trying to decide how to organize them. As I said before, I really like my tutorials to be more of a modular form where you can kind of separate them out. So I know one really huge problem I was having with 17 was animals, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to do one just on animals, if I wanted to do, you know, as we know, straw, water, cleanliness, all that stuff kind of it's all shared. I was like, well, do I want to do just one video on all of that stuff? But that's going to be really daunting. Or I could show each of that stuff in each of the separate animal videos, But then if you watch all 3 videos, you're going to see the same thing 3 times, and that, I mean, that really just caused a lot of problems for me. But what I ended up doing was I made one on water and straw, one on buying and selling, then one on pigs, sheep, and cows, and I think it worked out okay. Nothing's ever perfect, but how long does it take to make tutorials? Around 2 to 3 hours. Does that suffice? Gosh, decaf hazelnut really makes me talk. Chris Schaefer. I'm new to the channel. I'm new to the channel and I've been surprised by your encouragement for people to dislike your video. Why are you so accommodating for people's opinions if they don't like your content? Because if people don't like my content, but they're taking the time to hit one of those buttons, that means they might be slightly interested in the content. Whereas the people who just have no interest aren't even going to bother. So if I get videos where I'm starting to get a lot of dislikes, then I'm going to know that I need to change something. Especially true with my tutorials. Luckily this hasn't happened, but if I make a tutorial and instead of getting, 12, 15 likes and 1 or 2 dislikes, if all of a sudden I make a tutorial and I get 15 dislikes and 1 or 2 likes, then I'm going to know, based on that very, very simple data, that tutorial was something that people either they didn't get out of it what they were expecting, or the content was just bad. And that's something I would like to know and need to know so that I can redo it so that people will watch it and like it. So it's really just a matter of getting accurate feedback. If I only say hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, then that's what I'm going to get, is just people hitting the like button. But if I can encourage people to actually hit the one that they think is deserving. Sorry if you hear my cat. Gruber, I am answering questions now. I think if I encourage people to hit the one that they think is accurate, then I will get a better reading on what people are, how people are viewing my videos. So, yeah. The buttons are there, and I think they could be used for very good feedback for the creator. Joshua O'Brien Hoyne says, did you ever work on a farm? Hold on, real quick. Gruber, you're on camera. Sorry if I'm really annoying with my cat, but he's my cat. And he's handsome. Okay. Did you ever work on a farm? No, I didn't. Sorry, phone call. Why does everything happen when I'm recording? And then outside of recording, my life just nothing. Did you ever work on a farm? No, I never worked on a farm, but my grandfather owned a large dairy operation. And I do remember, this will be a short story. I do remember growing, when I was growing up, I would go over there to stay the night. Like me and my cousin would stay the night there and hang out. And we would always help bottle the calves. And that's not really work. You just sort of fill up the bottle and, well, I never filled up the bottle, so it's probably more complicated than I'm making it sound. But then you'd like bottle feed the calves, and it was the cutest thing. That's about the only thing I've ever done on a farm. Baby crafting. Baby crafting. What is something you'd like to see Giants add to the farming sim games? I mentioned it a lot in 15. I'd really like just a lot more options to move stuff around, and they actually did a really amazing job, I think, with Farming Sim 17, where you can now have the ability to place storage, silos, barns, haylofts. I mean, their placeables menu is greatly expanded based, compared to 15. So stop chewing on that. So I think if they could also let you kind of move your farm around, like I'd really like to be able to move my cow lot and sheep lot and chicken lot, and I know that's a lot to ask for, but I don't see why they have to be so spread out. But yeah, just a little more map manipulation, but they've already taken huge strides in that, and I think if they've already done this much for 17, I think we're looking for more things like that in 19. Had to add 2 to that. Bloody Gaming, do you have children? No, I do not. But I have this guy. No, I'm not someone who thinks that pets and children are the same. But this is what I have, and I love him. His name's Gruber. Okay, but no, no children. Are you ever going to give us a house tour? Hayden Grow asked that. Hayden Grow, is that something people do? Like, do they literally just like show you the house? I mean, got some books there. I got a door there. I got a couch right there. That's about it. Not much more. Bryce Evolution. We're getting to the end. 2 more questions. 2 more. 31 minutes. How in the world? Why do you like FS17? Not sure if they're okay. Not sure if you're asking it why I like Farming Sim or specifically 17. I like Farming Sim because of the relaxing nature of it. The fact that you really get to choose what you want to do. If you only want to do crops, you can. You never have to mess with animals if you don't want, or you can only mess with animals and barely mess with crops just to upkeep them. So it's really nice to just put music on, like put Christmas music on this time of year and just, play for a few hours. Love it. Farming Sim 17 specifically, I really like a couple tiny changes. One, the placeables, the hayloft, the storage sheds. I wish they'd put out some street lamps for nighttime since we have to play during the night, but they don't provide us any lights. And then 2, being able to pick things up. Just the simple act of like being able to do your forestry without a log fork. You can just cut tiny logs and throw them in your truck or throw them in the wood chipper, and you don't have to mess with tractors or anything like that. I think that's a huge quality of life improvement for Farming Sim 17. So, and pigs are really fun. Just being able to let them multiply. Breeding's huge. I've barely talked about how huge of a mechanic breeding is. I remember in Farming Sim 15, there was like an advertisement on their site. This is an advertisement. My hands look huge right now. Where it advertised breeding in Farming Sim 15, but then it never happened, I guess. But it happened now, and it's really cool to just buy a few sheep and a few cows, and then they just do it. Sorry, let me get one more sip for the final question. Andrew Kelly asks, what are some goals or possible changes that may be coming to your channel in the future, if any at all? I would say right now that kind of the Farming Sim 17 fervor, hey buddy, is gone. Well, not gone. It's dissipating, right? It's been 3 weeks. I'm almost done creating the tutorials I want. I got a few other series in mind for it, but nothing groundbreaking or huge. But so I'm not going to stop Farming Sim 17. That Farming Sim is always going to be integral to my channel. I will always be doing a Let's Play or something. But I do want to start diversifying a bit and trying to commit to a few more series. And instead of doing like 5 episodes and then giving up, I just need to really go to town, like creating some new series. So I bought Planet Coaster since that's new, and I'm going to see how that goes. But just trying to do a few more things while at the same time I'm doing Farming Sim, and see if I can interest other people or interest my current subscribers in those videos as well. And then now that I have a new camera, this fancy new camera, I think this video is going to look a lot better than the one a couple days ago. I don't know yet. I'll have to see in post. But I may try to start streaming again. We'll see. It's kind of like when I started Let's Plays. I didn't really enjoy it at first, but I think if I just actually did it consistently, I'd probably end up enjoying it. Because I assume it's kind of like that, where I just sort of get to play a game and talk, except instead of people asking me questions in advance, they can do it live, which sounds really nice, because then I can also ask them questions live. So I'm thinking right now American Truck Simulator, because I haven't played it yet, but I loved Euro Truck Simulator 2, and I think that'd be a fun one to just chill with viewers and stream. I'm also been waiting for Rise of the Tomb Raider to come out, but I don't know how that would stream. I don't know if I would be able, I don't know how that would go. So it's going to be very experimental if I do at all. Usually, what happens is I get my camera ready, I get broadcast, XSplit ready, everything's ready, and then I just close everything. I don't know if I get scared or whatever it is. I'm just like, oh no, I can't stream right now, and I just stop. So we'll see. Hopefully, so yeah, diversifying content, and I really should get into streaming. I think it could be really fun. I just need to get used to it. It's a very different craft than. Sorry, I just covered my microphone. Than YouTube creation. But yeah, 36 minutes of me just doing this. I hope I answered all the questions. I didn't answer every question in that thread. A lot of them were just about Farming Sim 17, and a lot of people answered questions for me, which was really great. And I'll try to go back and answer anything that I didn't cover in this video. I don't even know if this is how you do a Q&A. I don't know if I've ever. I don't really know how they work, but I figured you ask and I answer, and we'll all move on. So that was 36 minutes. I really hope you put this on in the background while you wash dishes or vacuumed. I think that'd be probably one way to enjoy, or at least hear, this content. If you have any more questions, if you have any comments, if you have any comments about the streaming thing I just mentioned, please go ahead, comment below, like, and this is another great use of the dislike. If this isn't how you want to see an answer of a Q, and I get 50 dislikes, then I'll know never just do this again, and that's fine. I need to know that information. So that's going to be it. I'm going to go finish my decaf hazelnut. I'm going to go tell Gruber that he's a star now because he was on the camera. And I will see you guys probably whenever you want to comment on a video. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your questions. Thanks so much for your support of Moose 2006 LP. It's been a really amazing 3 weeks. Really, really awesome. So that's all I have. Thanks so much. Have yourselves a very nice day.